With the GDP story seeming to be intact and, that providing much of the optimism, some are calling for further gains of between 10 and 15% on the Kenyan market into the year end. Are you as optimistic of that kind of target being hit?
I think, Alishia, the GDP numbers released for the second quarter actually reflect, further growth on the back of increased agricultural production, low inflation, low interest rates. And I think that is a reflection of the optimism that was that began at the beginning of the year. However, we have recently also received news in terms of the meteorological department indicating that we may have lower than expected rainfall. So that may, in a way, stem some of the significant optimism out there. But we still think that the fundamentals are still in place for us to have a fairly optimistic growth rate for 2010.
Well, it seems Safaricom managing to get swept up in that optimism as well. New wings under its wings, wind under its wings, with value buyers building up positions again. And many saying, at this point, the market feeling like that 27.6% downdraft from August the 9th was slightly overdone. What's your view on Safaricom right now?
Yes, I think you're right that a lot of investors are taking advantage of the decline in the price to take positions. One of the things that is quite clear that's coming up is that Safaricom has indicated that their capital spend will not change. They are still on course to maintain the investment plan that they had for this year. We've also seen them aggressively getting into the diversifying their revenue sources through data, and you've just talked about the approval for acquisition of 2 companies. And I think the fact that the company has also aggressively gotten into other loyalty programs and offers to clients and promotions, which have previously had significant positive results for them, indicates that for them they are maintaining the trend and the tempo that has been there previously, and that could be an indication that the decline may have been overstated.
Well, I spoke to incoming CEO Bob Collymore earlier this week, and he was saying that there's still no plans to go regional. I mean, what are you making of that strategy for the company to stay within the Kenyan borders?
I think it's also well, in terms of the company's primary market is really the Kenyan environment, and I think when you look at the profile and the image and the brand, I would say it's primarily focused on the Kenyan market. Yeah. And I think the challenge would be how it would work out in the regional market. So I think it's also an acknowledgement of the significant base in terms of the Kenyan market provides for the business.
In the meantime, we've got Kenya Airways being surrounded by some negative news, as we heard in the news bulletin earlier on. Strike action anticipated to begin next week, Wednesday. What are you making of those noises and the kind of impact it's going to have on Kenya Airways?
I think going back to we had a similar strike last year. And that had quite a significant impact on the business, and was reflected in the year-end results that were announced for the year-ended March. And of course, the fact that we are now back to a similar situation, indicating that some of the discussions and negotiations have not worked out well. Yeah. And I think the airline industry, being fairly prone to labor unrest, could indicate that, and especially coming at a time when the company is really working at growing its routes, the number of routes in which it is operating in, could have a negative impact on its ability to work out, to actualize.
To what extent is this, throwing some shadow over management's ability to actually, resolve this issue once and for all? Because as you highlighted, this is a problem that just doesn't seem to be going away.
I think it's a question of, from a management perspective, I would imagine it's a question of balancing the company's revenues against costs, and also looking at the future strategy. And as I mentioned, the fact that we also see similar, we've seen similar situations in the airline industry, whether it is British Airways or other airlines across the world, where labor issues occupy a fairly significant element of the business. So I wouldn't say it's a question of the manager not being able to address. I think it's a question of balancing the company's profitability against what they expect to do in terms of expanding their routes and trying to maintain the business on a profitability path.